Good evening, Hawks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Atlanta Sports District. I'm your host, Russell Spence, coming to you directly after another absolutely pitiful effort tonight in a 132-106 loss to the Boston Celtics. I'm going to ask a couple of questions to start off. Giving up 117 points in three quarters, is that an acceptable outcome? In my opinion, no. Scoring 107 points in a game, is that an acceptable outcome? When you lean into the offense as much as we did tonight, the answer is no. When I look at this team right now, do I see a team that is connected and playing team basketball under one vision? The answer is no. When I watch this team play, do I see adjustments being made that make us a better basketball team? The answer is no. When I watch this team, is it an enjoyable experience where we're kind of the lovable losers? The answer is no. When I ask myself, do I see this changing at any time, in the near future of how we're, we've tried this, and I really see that this that we're trying now is sustainable and we'll be able to figure it out. We just got to stay the course. The answer is no. And I believe that any person who's watched these games will understand and come to the same conclusion that I just did in all of those questions. Offensively, what we are running is stale. We're playing through CJ McCollum. We're playing through Nickeil Alexander-Walker a lot. We're playing through Luke Kennard. And my question is, how many teams that have played with those players being their main offensive operators have been successful? Well, no, this is his first year of being a main offensive, initiator, but so far hadn't been too successful. How about teams led by CJ McCollum? Well, if you look, he was a part of a Portland team that had Dame Lillard as their main offensive engine, and they played pretty well. They made it to a Western Conference Finals. They were fine. But then after that, when Dame Lillard was gone, they were pitiful. And then in Washington, they were pitiful. And now he's come to us, and since he's been here, we're pitiful. Same thing with Luke Kennard. Where has he played and led an offense that's been successful and won lots of games? I don't believe you will find that in his resume. Looking forward, how many times has Quinn Snyder built a winnable, sustainable defense? Well, in Utah, he had a good defensive team. They had great defensive numbers. That is correct, except for the fact that they had great defensive numbers built around Rudy Gobert, and that was it. The rest of their roster was very poor defensively, and that ended up biting them in the playoffs every single year. When he was starting Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Royce O'Neal, George Niang, and Rudy Gobert, Rudy Gobert saved their bacon in basically every game of the regular season defensively, but the rest of the players they played were horrid defenders. And that team never won anything of note. I know they were the 1 seed. It didn't matter because they could not win when it came down to an important series. When they can plan on how to beat you, they will always beat you. So now fast forward to Quinn Snyder being the coach of the Atlanta Hawks. Well, we've had, good defensive personnel under Quinn Snyder. Clint Capella and John Collins roam in the paint. DeAndre Hunter being an above-average defender in the NBA. Dyson Daniels with this amazing defensive ability. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So, you could say, when we had Trey and Dyson, Trey and DJ together, the defense when Quinn started here, it just wasn't exactly right because you had two small guards. Okay, well, we traded DJ. Then we had Sadiq Bey playing power forward for us, and he was really not a great defender, and that was the problem. So we put in Jalen, it'll be better. Okay, well, what was the difference last year when we weren't a good defensive team? Well, Clint was getting old, and so we had to make a change there. Okay, well, we've done that. Now it's Onyeka at center. What's the issue? Why are we still terrible? Oh, well, we had Trae Young, and you can't build a good defense around Trae Young. Well, the defense is horrible, and we don't have a Trae Young anymore. So explain it to me. What it seems like to me is a coaching staff that is unable to connect the team and the players that are on the floor in a defensive manner, and is also unwilling to play players whom can get stops because they're worried about the offense that is still bad. The offense is not good with the players we're playing, and we're actively trying to lean into the offense. If you're playing CJ McCollum, Luke Kennard, Vit Krejci, Keaton Wallace, Asa Newell, these big minutes that these players are getting in these games, you got to score 150 or you're going to get blown out every single night. So that's where we're at. And the sad part of it is I know it will continue. We will not make the adjustments that need to be made. It's kind of crazy to me. But I look around the league, and every team that's good, let's use the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are without what most people would consider, on paper, is their best player for the whole year. He has a torn Achilles, Jason Tatum. On top of that, they don't have Peyton Pritchard tonight. They don't have Josh Minott, who's been playing the rotation tonight. They got two centers who most people would say absolutely stink at basketball. I like Luka Garza. I don't really like Neemias Queta's game, but I like Luka Garza. Good player. But most people wouldn't even know their names. And to that I say, well, how are they able to kick our teeth in like this? Well, Derek White's a great defender. He plays in the rotation. Sam Hauser's a very good defender. Hugo Gonzalez is a really good defender. Baylor Shireman's learning to be a pretty good defender in the league. Jordan Walsh is a pretty good defender. Jaylen Brown's a pretty good defender. He played very good defense tonight. I'm trying to think if they had a player in their rotation at all that wasn't a good defender. Oh, they had one. And his name is Anthony Simons, and he's horrible on defense. But because their other 8 players that played in the rotation all were really good defenders, they could cover for Anthony Simons. That kind of sounds like what I've been talking about all year. When we had Trae Young, I said you play Trae Young and 8 good defenders. When you had Jalen Johnson, I say play Jalen Johnson, 8 good defenders. This is how you stop people, and you let your one guy win you offensive possessions. You try to win 115 to 105. But instead, we're going to continue to beat our head against the wall. As I've said multiple videos in a row, that is what we're doing. And it's just ever so fun to watch as a Hawks fan. It's really fun to watch us continually give up wide open threes, continue to have bad offensive possessions, to give up free runs to the rim. That's fun. Yeah, I think that's really fun. I hope you can see that I'm being extraordinarily sarcastic. I said about Game 10 that if I ever had another game wherein Mo Gay played around 10 minutes, I would fire Quinn Snyder. I am now saying that I would have already fired him. But if I had waited until this point in the year, and we looked as bad as we looked tonight, Quinn Snyder would not make it through the night as the head coach of this team. I would promote Ryan Schmidt, who is the guy who helps coordinate our defense right now and built a great defensive roster in College Park when he was their head coach, and is kind of the guy that a lot of people kind of associate with the defensive improvement of people like Mo Gay, people like Jalen, who before this year was having significant defensive improvement. He's the guy who kind of built all that to happen. So I would give him the keys and I would say build a good defense or you're fired too. That would be my goal. And then as the general manager, I would be looking to make additions for people who can play defense. N'Faly Dante would be gone. I would be looking to trade Luke Kennard to any team who could take on the money. I'll attach a couple picks to it, a couple second rounders, whatever you need. Take the money so we can go sign somebody who can play defense. Or trade us someone who can play defense. Anything will do. But defensively, we have to improve. It's really, 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 really bad. Again, they called off the Dogs like 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter and still scored over 130 points. They had 117 at the end of three quarters. If you don't see a problem with that, I don't know what you're looking at. And I would like to see changes made ASAP. Now, moving to the player-by-player section. This is going to be a rough one. So we had our deep bench guys get in because we're down so big. Ray J. Dennis made his debut, didn't score, but did have 4 assists. Looked good, played good defense. And he finished the game plus 12. Caleb Houston also got in the game about the same time. He was also plus 12. He made it 1-3, and that was pretty much the only stat he accumulated. Asa Newell played 9 minutes. He had 10 points on 4 of 7, shooting 1 of 2 from 3. He had 2 rebounds and finished the game plus 10. Asa looked good offensively, and we played him with Mo in the last section. And when you play him with Mo, it puts him in his more natural position on the floor. He's able to play a little bit better on defense. And they had like Xavier Tillman as his matchup. Like, he didn't really have a guy who could punish him. But when he was playing in the second quarter, don't know why he got in the game at that point. It was really bad defensively in that stretch. He got attacked by Jaylen Brown over and over and over again and kept Jaylen Brown cooking us. So the defense isn't getting better. Next, we'll talk about Mo Gay. Mo played 19 minutes. He had 5 points on 2 of 7 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3, 7 rebounds, 3 assists with the turnover. He had 2 steals, no blocks, and finished the game -7. Thought Mo's defense was very good. Thought he actually moved the ball pretty well today. I thought that the effort was good. The offense is still a work in progress, but I would rather have him in the game because he's a great defensive organizer. And that is what our team needs right now. Moving on, we'll talk about Keaton Wallace. Keaton had 13 minutes, 5 points on 2 of 6 shooting, 0 of 2 from 3, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, didn't record a turnover. It was +6. The group at the end of the game kind of ran them off the floor because they're not as deep as we have a deeper roster than them. But for some reason, we were refusing to play those players at the bottom of the bench that could help. I don't understand that. I truthfully don't see a world where we're going to change until there's a change at the head position. And so I'm going to keep talking about how certain players need to play more, certain players need to play less. And it's not going to change. And we're going to continue to lose a significant number of our games. Moving on, we'll talk about Luke Kennard. He played 23 minutes, had 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting, 0 of 3 from 3, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and finished the game -13. Really pitiful effort from Luke tonight. He's really bad defensively. He didn't make any shots, didn't have very many assists, didn't move the ball well. Thankfully, he didn't turn the ball over, but you're not giving us anything when you're not making shots, Luke. You're quite bad on defense. And that's one thing that I'll say is, like, if Mo Gay doesn't score a single point, he gives us positive value because his defense is really good. If Dyson doesn't score a single point, still gives us positive value because his defense is really good. Same thing with Null. He could not score a single point as long as he doesn't like shoot the ball 30 times and not score something. Still gives us positive value. So then every point they score, just like gravy, just right on top of the value he already gives you. We have a lot of players that's not the case. If they're not putting the ball in the hole, they are useless. Corey Kispert played 23 minutes. He had 16 points on 5 of 11 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, 7 rebounds, and an assist. Finished the game -9. Corey, I thought, played very well. Shot the ball off the floor. Attacked very well. Played very aggressive. Got 2 feet in the paint a lot. The defense was pretty good. Sometimes we put him in lineups that it's just like there's no helping this. I mean, if you're going out there and it's Kennard and him and Veet and Asa and Jalen, you're going, nobody's going to be able to help this. It doesn't matter if he plays pretty good defense or not. The numbers are going to be bad. But when he has people around him that are helpful, he's been playing pretty good defense. To the starters, Veet Krejci played 19 minutes. He had 3 points on 1 of 6 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3. He had 1 rebound, a steal, and was -25. He has been playing very, very bad since being inserted into the starting lineup. That should trouble you because we don't know when we're getting Zach back, and Zach is very important to our success. We are seeing that having a dude who plays that good of defense for 25 minutes a night is really helpful to have. We don't have him, things are going bad. Moving on, we'll talk about CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum played 27 minutes. He had 11 points on 4 of 14 shooting, 0 of 5 from 3, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers with a foul, and finished -26. So this guy who's supposed to be helping the offense go played terrible offensively and also is horrid defensively. Sounds like, I'm just going to put it out there, maybe he shouldn't be playing 27 minutes because he's not that good a player. He needs to be playing bench rotation minutes, if any. Because if he can't stop people and he's not one of the best offensive players on planet Earth, he's not worth playing. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Moving on, we'll talk about Jalen Johnson. Jalen played 35 minutes. He had 12 points on 4 of 14 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3. He had 8 rebounds and 5 assists with 4 turnovers and a foul, and finished the game worst, -30. Jalen's got to figure out whatever the heck is going on, and a lot of it stems from he is being less aggressive than he was when we didn't have Trey. That is what I kept saying over and over and over and over and over and over again. He has to remain this aggressive. He has to remain this aggressive. That is the problem. He has to remain the aggressiveness that he's playing with when he was scoring 30. I don't care if he has to go punch somebody in the face to get the ball. Give him the ball and let him play aggressively. Play downhill, play an attacking style. That is all we need from him. But for some reason, we can't figure that out. Play Jalen and 8 dudes who can play defense and have Jalen play aggressive. That's all the Thunder do. They say, Shea, go be aggressive. And all the 8 other guys are responsible for stopping the other team. That's the game plan. That's how teams win. The Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown, go be aggressive. Score 40-something. Score 41. And everybody else will be responsible for stopping people. But for some reason, we can't figure that out. Moving on, we'll talk about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He played 29 minutes, had 18 points on 6 of 16 shooting, 4 of 9 from 3. He had 2 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal and a block. Finished -35. Oh, I'm sorry. He's actually the game worst, -35. I misread it earlier. No, honestly, had a rough game efficiency-wise. He turns the ball over a good bit. He didn't have a listed turnover tonight, but the offense has multiple stallings when he's got the ball, where we may not give him the turnover, but the ball got batted down and picked up by somebody, and they're falling out of bounds, and that gets given a turnover to somebody else. when really it was the bad pass from Nall. He's not a very good passer, and he makes up for it by tonight. He didn't shoot the ball very well, but the defense is good. But we're again putting him in lineups that are just not tenable. I mean, look at the starting lineup tonight. It was Nall and 4 people who were underperforming defensively. That's not going to work. Ever. Moving on to Onyeka Okongwu, the last one we'll talk about. He had 33 minutes, 21 points on 8 of 14 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, and was minus 25. Played very well offensively, played absolutely horrible defensively, and overall was a huge negative on the floor. And the way I'm going to prove that he played horrible defensively is that they shot the ball 51% from the field. They shot the ball 42% from 3, which means that we weren't stopping the 3, but also we're not stopping the ball at the paint either. And to add on top of that, they beat us 55-47 in the rebounding battle. They are destroying us every night. No matter who we play, they're killing us in the rebounding battle. Do you not think that comes back on your center? It is remarkable to me that every game, that's what happens. You look, and we get beat in every margin of victory thing you could look at. The things that people look at are usually rebounds, shooting percentage, turnover percentage. Well, they technically had a larger number of turnovers, but they had way more possessions than we did. So they have more opportunities for turnovers, so they still had a lower turnover percentage. That kind of thing to me, I'm going, just looking at a number in a box score doesn't tell you that we're not taking care of the ball well, we're not rebounding the ball well, and we are making it very easy to shoot a very high percentage. That comes back on your team's overall defense, and especially comes back on your defensive organizer you have on the floor. And right now, that's Onyeka Okongwu for a large majority of the game. That comes back on him. I really hope we start to make adjustments. I don't know if we will, but I hope we do. We play the Bucks on Monday. It's on Peacock. It's a 1 p.m. start, kind of a weird matinee game. But at the end of all of this, I have to say, I don't see this changing. And in my opinion, if it's not going to change, then something has to change. And you can't cut everybody on the whole roster, but you can fire a coach who over the course of 3 seasons has proven that he is unable to put a defensively oriented, good defensive team on the floor. And that's just not okay. That being said, like, comment, and subscribe. Follow on all the social media platforms and all the things. I have Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram. I'm on Reddit with this podcast. And so, follow all those. Hit me up if you have any questions. Comment on this video. Give me a like. And above all else, I hope you have a great day.